Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Big Bite Baits today. I got a laugh on my face. My cohorts over here giving me a hard time today. It's kind of hard to keep in mind on what I need to get in. So I'm going to clear my face and let's get talking about Big Bite Baits than everything else in the world, Jordan. Giving me a hard time today, boy, I tell you. Anyway, before we get into our show, let's talk a little about some clothing I wanted to offer today. I got the cold weather package. Let's try that. I know it's real cold in the north, and it's pretty cold down here in the south as well. But I've got a combo I think works real well for you in cold weather. If you hadn't tried it, you try our Big Bite beanie. It's pretty nice to cover your ears and keep your head warm. And then we've got the bomber jacket that we offer from Big Bite. It's a really nice fitted type jacket. Comes all the way up to, I believe, 4X. Is that correct? I think so. So we carry it even in the big guy sizes like me. But it's very nice. It's got like a windproof, waterproof shield on it. And it's lined on the inside with fleece, so it's pretty nice. Check it out on the website. Both these are offered currently on our website. Check them out. Take a look at them. Something cold weather package. All right. So I know we got a question coming up. You already said we had one from last week. You just really wanted to ask me. So let's talk about that before we go any further down. And let me remind you while we're getting started today, get your questions in if you got anything. We still hadn't been able to build up a big back dialogue of questions. So if you got something, get it on here. Let's try to talk about it.
All right, we have Brandon R. wondering, what is a unique bait to throw in the spring?
Okay, something different. Okay, that's pretty neat, Brandon. That kind of leads me to our show today. So I'm just going to lead your question right into our show. Our show today was to talk about the Tour Swimworm. Now, believe it or not, this is a really good springtime bait. Comes in 13 colors. It comes in two sizes, a 5.5 and a 7.5 model, which I'll show you in just a second. Nice thing about this worm, we took about a year in developing this product, and we added the rings, and the rings give the head an action on it. And then we took the paddle tail, and we did something that was kind of unique with it. You can leave it just as a straight paddle tail as it is, or you can tear it. It has a little serrated tear in it, and I'll tear it so you can see. And you can tear it and turn it into a swimming type worm. So you can do two things with it. And you can actually tear this certain distances to make it do different things. So we put a lot of thought into this, and the results have been really well. This worm sells really well for us. And it's something that you can use in the springtime. So that leads me back to my question. So I thought to answer your question, I'll give you two ways that I like to fish it in the spring. The first way would be that what I call is a typical swim bait rig. Just swim it with a light lead. I would probably opt to tear the tail on it when I did this. This is a 7.5 model, which works real well to do that with. If you've got hydrilla, if you've got grass of any variety, this is a way to swim through there and get a little something different than maybe just throwing your proverbial Texas rig up there, or a chatterbait, or a swim jig for that matter. You can throw the swimming worm or any type of topwater bait maybe. And it works real well. And just throw it up and just easily reel it back. And believe it or not, they'll come get it. And a lot of people that fish just really enjoy fishing this. And it's a very productive way to catch fish, especially when they're shallow and in the spring of the year. And even on out into the summer, actually. All right. And then the way I decided to rig it today, it was different. The way I like to fish it, actually, believe it or not, I get a lot of bites on it on a Carolina rig. And I do not tear the tail when I fish it on a Carolina rig. I leave it normal. And basically, it's kind of a speed worm version. Works real well. The fish will bite, especially like when the fish are staging up for spring, when they're on points, say on a rock, that type of thing. You can throw this Carolina rig out there, work that bait real slow, and you'll get lots of bites on it. And as I said, once again, I like the 5.5 model to do that with. And then obviously, as we talked about, I don't tear the tail on it. So that's another way that you can rig and fish this bait that makes it unique. So that's just two ways. I'm sure some of you guys out there got other ways that you would probably like to rig it and fish it, but this is just two ways I want to share with you that I would fish it. So that kind of gives you an idea. So what do we got going on, Jordan? We got any questions coming in? And
we do have some good ones.
Super. Let's talk, man. I'm enjoying this.
So this will probably be a two-part question. Number one from Sean Johnson. He's wondering where to fish the swimworm. That's part one.
Well, I think you can fish that swimworm. It's really good at like over suspended grass, like a hydrilla. It works real good. We have a type of grass here. Some people call it like a peanut grass or an alligator grass, or I think it's called, the scientific name is water primrose. You can swim that worm through that grass. You can swim it around lily pads, dollar pads, any type of pads. It works really good around vegetation when you're swimming it. And that's how I'd recommend to fish it, basically.
Okay, part 2 is going to be, and this is another two-parter. What size weight and hook? Maybe for both sizes.
I would go as big as a 5/0 on this 7.5. I think the more hook the better. That's the way I've always kind of judged it. Probably an 1/8 ounce, 16th ounce, something small. The worm's pretty heavy. Now the lead I got on's a little bigger than that because that's all I had laying around the shop here today. But that worm's heavy, so the castability of it is real good. So I would do just a small enough worm to get enough lead to give me a good cast. Because I don't think you want to pull that worm to the bottom. You want to keep that worm up in the water table where it'll swim and have action. So I would think a lighter lead. I preferably, myself, if I were doing this, I'd put tungsten on the front. I think it works better because it's not as big and not as bulky. So that's kind of how I would rig that with some like 17-pound line on a high-speed reel and hang on.
Okay, and then what size hook for the smaller version?
A smaller version, I'd probably go down to 3/0. You might could get by with a 4/0, but I know if I want Carolina rig fishing, I like it with a 3/0, and it works real well. That's just plenty of hook for the worm, definitely. And then obviously, if you're Carolina rigging it, either a half, a 3/4, or an ounce lead, depending on what you like. I prefer a 3/4 ounce.
Okay, my next one is from Everett. He's wondering what's the best color swimworm to throw in January and February.
I think it has to do with the condition of your water. I'm not trying to dodge your question. If you got clear water, then I'd throw a watermelon red or some type of greeny color. Definitely, or the chick magnet or some of the other colors that comes in. If you got stained up water, then I'd go that black and blue or this purple toma, something that's darker where that worm can have visibility. Or another option in that stained water would be white, the pearl shiner, because the whole thing in that dirty water is visibility. That would be another option you could try.
Okay, here's another one. Let's see. Jeremy Conkright is wondering, when you're fishing around grass with this, do you use braid or fluorocarbon?
I think you can go either way. A lot of guys I know throw braid on. A lot of guys I know throw fluorocarbon. I think it would be what you prefer to do. I just think that's one of these light things. I myself, if I were throwing it, I'd throw it on braid. And a lot of people because you don't have a lot of stretch in your line that way, you can get a quick hook set. I just think it would work better on braid, but you can throw it on fluorocarbon and do just as well.
Okay, and I'll have another question for you. I have multiple people asking. Grady is wondering, and Not Again Fishing are wondering, what is your go-to color in general?
Depending once again on the water clarity. I've always based everything I throw off of water, and if you talk to most of your pros, a lot of them are the same way. I kind of match mine. Unless it's a unique situation like a shad spawn or something like that, then you maybe want to try to match your hatch. But depending on the time of the year, I'm going to throw something that's here. The lake's always muddy in the spring, so obviously I'm throwing something dark. But if it's out in the summer, you throw a clear top color. So just kind of got to play that by ear.
Okay, Lopes and Ropes is wondering, what is the best bait for drop shot fishing?
Oh, wow, that's a good question, Lopes. We have 2 or 3 things that works very well. The limit maker works real well. The smallie smasher, even though don't let that smallie smasher fool you now. It'll catch a largemouth too, even though it's called a smallie smasher. The shaking squirrel's another one that works real good on the end of a drop shot. There's just numerous things you can drop shot and get away with. That's just a couple.
All right, that's it for right now.
Well, that's super, man. We appreciate all the questions today. And now next week, me and Jordan will not be on. We have a holiday. We're not at work. And then we'll see y'all the following week, and hope y'all have a nice week and everything goes well for you.